Hey, what's going on? This is Andre Sweeney, the Life Specialist. Welcome to the Get a Life Show, the show that gives you the tools and principles necessary for an outstanding life. Today's segment is called Life Nuggets, and today I want to share with you the topic Leadership Lessons, Part 1. Listen, I've been a youth pastor for 10 years. I've served as a leader in various other capacities in the church. I currently sit as one of the board of directors on a community organization. My parents were the senior pastors of a church for 14 years, so I have been in and around leadership for the majority of my life. Listen, it's in my blood. It's what I do. And so I would like to share with you 20 leadership lessons that I have picked up and developed over my lifetime. This is not something that I read in a book, but things that I have learned by trial and error, things that I've watched other people do, and I would like to share these with you and see how they may apply to your life. Every leader is different, but there are some core values, some core principles that I believe are transferable to many of our lives. So I would like to share those with you today. Okay, lesson number 1. Every great leader has mastered the art of being a servant. Listen, many of you out there right now, you got leadership all twisted. It's not glamour. It's not being a superstar. It's not having your ego stroked. Leadership is about serving people. You have to put people first. See, here's what happens. There's a need amongst the people, and God raises up a leader to help fulfill that need, to help to influence those people for a common goal. John Maxwell said that the definition of leadership is in one word: influence. The ability to influence a group of people either left or right. And so you have to understand first as a leader that you're a servant. It's not about people looking up to you. It's not about people doing for you. It's about you putting the needs of the people before yourself. It's about seeing the big picture and seeing the vision and seeing how people fit in that vision and making sure that you take each and every individual that God has placed in your care and help them get to their destiny. Help them get to their purpose. Again, it's not about them putting you on a pedestal. It's about you caring enough to say, I will take you to from point A to point B. All right? That's number 1. Number 2, leadership lesson. Love for people is a prerequisite. In college, when I took English 101 and 102, I couldn't just take English 102. The rules were, in order to take 102, you have had to take 101 first. Okay? There are some classes in life that in college that you cannot take until you take a prerequisite first. And this is the same principle in leadership. You cannot be a leader unless you love people. What are you doing? What makes you think that you can get before people and lead them and you don't care about them? What makes you think that you're so special that you should have some type of position and you don't even care about what people are going through? No, in order to be an effective leader, you got to first love folks. You got to care about people. And when you love people, you sacrifice for them. When you love a person, you spend time with them. When you love a person, you impart to them. When you love a person, there are things that you do differently when you don't love them. And a leader has to love people because it's that love for people that drives you when they irritate you. It's that love for people that pushes you on when people don't meet your expectations. If you don't love people, then you will eventually run out of gas. If you don't love people as a leader, then you will never take people where they're supposed to go. So love has to be that foundation. You have to love a person in order to take them to the course that God has prescribed for you in that leadership role. So number 2 is you have to love them. Number 3, perception is important. Listen, I am not one who has ever been governed by people's opinions. I'm not one who will do things based off what people think. However, if you're going to be a leader and you're going to persuade people and influence people towards a common goal, you have to care how people perceive you to an extent. Perception is important. Perception is the way a person sees you. If you're trying to move 100 people to the left and everybody perceives that you're an idiot, you're going to have a problem. If you're trying to get people to move towards a common goal and those people perceive that you do not care about them, then you're going to have an issue. Again, I'm not saying to allow people's opinion to rule how you lead, but you do have to be aware of their perceptions. Some perceptions are real and some perceptions are not real. But to the person who perceives it, it is very real. It is their reality. So as you're strategizing and you're planning on how to deal with your team, you have to be aware of how they look at things. Because it matters when it's time to go into that game room and plan for the next game and plan for the next strategy. So you have to be aware of perception. Number 4, don't panic, sleep on it. Listen, there are things as a leader that will inevitably happen. Things will go wrong. People will jack up, people will leave you, mistakes will happen, things do go wrong. And as a leader, you can't be too up or too down. You can't get too high or too low. When things happen and they happen negatively, as a leader, you cannot panic. Leaders cannot afford to panic. Assess the problem, go home and sleep on it, get up the next day, and work it out. That's what leaders do. There will be no issue as a leader that you will come up to that will fit perfectly in a nice little box. There will be things that happen and you have to keep a calm head, not panic, go home and sleep on it. Don't allow it to stress you out. Don't get ulcers behind it. But go home and sleep and come up the next day refreshed with your mind ready to find the solution. Number 5, when things happen, do not dwell on it. As a leader, you need to have a short memory. You need to be able to take a hit and not think about it for the next 10 years. You need to be able to deal with people who have injured you, not hold it against them, not have a grudge, but think as a leader. How can I still use this person to benefit the organization? How can I reconcile this person back to where they need to be? How can I move on? But don't dwell on it. Leaders cannot afford to be grudge holders. Leaders cannot afford to not be forgiveness oriented. As a leader, you must be able to take something, again, assess the situation, make the best decision, and then move on. Short-term memory when it comes to those situations. Deal with it and then move on. This is Andre Sweeney, the life specialist, and I'm here to tell every leader to get a life.